Om Shanti. Let's take a couple of moments to stabilize ourselves, to listen to what Baba has to say through today's Murli. Today's Murli is dated 29th May 1977, and the title of today's Murli is Obstructions in the Speed of Effort and Their Resolution. Obstructions in the speed of effort and their resolution. All the effort makers are continuing with their efforts. I think I should wait till the time it comes on screen. Okay. All right. So we'll start the Murli again. All the effort makers are continuing with their efforts according to their capacity. Seeing the speed of every effort maker, Bap Dada knows which obstacles come in front of them and how, with deep love, they become destroyers of obstacles. Sometimes they come to a standstill. Sometimes they race ahead. And sometimes they even take a high jump. However, why do obstructions come? Due to which you change from intense effort makers to being simple effort makers. And from the ascending stage, you come to a standstill. Instead of being masters and master almighty authorities, you become unhappy, that is udas, and servants, that is das. What is the reason for this? Many trivial things. That's the reason. As you were told the other day, the main thing is that the majority of you have many storms of waste thoughts. The cause of having waste thoughts is a lack of pure thoughts, pure ideas, and the treasures of knowledge. Even when you do get them, you don't know how to use them or accumulate them. They don't increase because you don't know the right way to use them. I'll repeat this again. As you were told the other day, the main thing is that the majority of you have many storms of waste thoughts. The cause of having waste thoughts is a lack of pure thoughts, pure ideas, and the treasures of knowledge. Even when you do get them, you don't know how to use them or accumulate them. They don't increase because you don't know the right way to use them. To have heard the knowledge means to have received it. My screen is frozen. Just give me a moment, please. Vijitra, is it possible to increase the size of the font, please, so that I can read it from the screen?
Is this fine, Almesh bhai? Or
Uh, wait. Yeah, should be good. Yeah, that is fine. To have heard the knowledge means to have received it. It is cutting from the side, Vijitra.
yeah, I can adjust it.
Okay. To have heard the knowledge means to have received it, but you use it all up that time by experiencing temporary happiness and power. In a worldly way, you use, uh, in a worldly way, you constantly experience yourself to be empty of the treasures of knowledge and powers because you lack the power to imbibe and are unable to increase them by using the right method. This is why you are unable to be constantly powerful and are not able to remain constantly cheerful. Because of being weak, you become influenced by the obstacles of Maya and you become a slave to Maya. As well as this, you become unhappy on seeing other souls full. The main method for accumulating the treasure of knowledge, the treasure of the elevated time, and for increasing physical treasures 100,000-fold is to have a clean and pure intellect and an honest heart. The basis of having a pure intellect is to know the Father with the intellect and to surrender your intellect to the Father. The basis of having a pure intellect is to know the Father with the intellect and to surrender your intellect to the Father. To surrender means to finish the consciousness of mind. Have you surrendered your intellect in this way? Have you surrendered the intellect of me or mera? To surrender a Shudra intellect means to give it away. Together with giving it away, you also receive a divine intellect. To give is to receive. When you make a deal, you first give something and you then receive something in return. What Baba says, dena hi lena hai. When you make a deal, you first give something and you then receive something in return. You give money and you receive the goods. In the same way, here too, to give is to receive. First, you have to give everything. How? By having pure thoughts. Everything belongs to the Father. It is not mine. To let go of your rights resulting from the consciousness of mine is known as surrender. To let go of your rights of main or mera, which is resulting from the consciousness of mine, is known as surrender. This is known as the stage of being free from attachment. The reason for not being an embodiment of remembrance, for having waste thoughts, and for becoming unhappy and a servant is that you're not free from being attached to the consciousness of mind. There is a lot of expansion of the consciousness of mind. Bapdada also sees the clever games of the children throughout the day, especially in giving to Baba. You would give something to Baba 1 minute and take it back the next. We look at the justifications or the reasons that we would give in which we would be clever, being a clever game to allow ourselves to do what we are doing, which is coming out of body consciousness or attachments. So you would give something to Baba 1 minute and take it back the next. 1 minute you would say through your lips that nothing belongs to you. And yet in your mind, you will still be holding on to it as though you have a right. To have that right means to have attachment. Sometimes you give something practically, but you then take it back through words. Your cleverness is that together with the new, you also want to hold on to the old. You call yourself a trustee, but you are a householder in practice. The basis of finishing waste thoughts is to relinquish being a householder. Whether you're a Kumar or a Kumari, to think in terms of my nature, my sanskar, my intellect is the expansion of a householder. When you've surrendered yourself, the Father's nature is your nature. The Father's sanskars are your sanskars. Just as the Father's intellect is divine, so your intellect should be the same. It is not possible that here there wouldn't be remembrance when you have a divine intellect. If you check your stage for just 1 hour, you will find that the basis of waste thoughts is one form or other of the consciousness of mind. You were told that the indication of the consciousness of mind is attachment. There are stages of attachment. One is subtle attachment, which can only be recognized by being stable in the subtle soul conscious stage. One is subtle attachment, which can only be recognized by being stable in the subtle soul conscious stage. The other is the gross form of attachment, which can be easily recognized. There's also a great deal of expansion of subtle attachment. Most of the attachments are subtle, for which we need to get into the deep soul conscious stage. Without attachment, an intellect would not be attracted or subservient to anything. So, the way to check for attachment is to see whether there is any subservience, whether it is in thoughts, words, deeds, relationships, or connections. Time will definitely be used in that even against your conscious wish. This is why the main cause of waste thoughts is attachment. So Baba says, check this. Things that you don't want disturb you in the form of waste thoughts too. The cause of this weakness in the form of consciousness of mind in regard to your old sanskars and nature. Things that you don't want disturb you in the form of waste thoughts too. The cause of this is weakness in the form of the consciousness of mind in regard to your old sanskars and nature. As long as you still have the consciousness of my nature or my sanskars, they will definitely pull you. They will weigh you down. When you, the creator, have the consciousness of my creation, you will be pulled. The creation in the form of my nature and sanskars pulls the soul, the creator, towards it. These are not my sanskars, but the sanskars of a Shudra. To say that the sanskars of a Shudra are my sanskars is a great sin. It is stealing and cheating. So, as you must be aware, there are 4 stages, the highest being Brahman, the next is Kshatriya, one after that is Vaishya, and the last and the lowest is Shudra. So, a journey in the confluence age is to move from having Shudra sanskars to having Brahman sanskars. To say that the sanskars of a Shudra are my sanskars is a great sin. It is stealing and cheating. Brahmins steal the property of Shudras. That is, if you say that it is yours, that is a great sin. Even to say, Baba, all of this is yours, and then consider it to be your own, that is also cheating. By committing sin in this way and thereby increasing the account of sin, you cannot keep your intellect stable in an elevated stage. This is why you have to come down to the stage of waste thoughts time and again. Then you cry out, what can I do? The other reason for waste thoughts is that throughout the day, in your thoughts, words, and deeds, you disobey Srimat in the form of the Maryadas that you have received from the Father. From being obedient, you become disobedient. If you step outside the line of the code of conduct, even in your thoughts, then it is possible that Ravan, in the form of waste thoughts, can attack you. You should also check that you are not def- that you are not disobeying Brahmin disciplines and systems in your thoughts. You should also check that you are not disobeying Brahmin disciplines and systems in your thoughts, words, deeds, relations, and connections. You definitely have waste thoughts mixed in your intellect when some disciplines or systems are missing. Do you understand the second reason? This is why you should check yourself very carefully, for only then will you become free from waste thoughts. Throughout the day, let the intellect remain busy in the pure activities that become free from waste thoughts. Sorry, through the day, let the intellect remain busy in the pure activities that the Father has given you to do. The activity of the intellect is to have pure thoughts. The activity of words is to speak the knowledge you have heard from the Father. The activity of deeds is to perform every deed as a karma yogi, to live as lovingly and detached as a lotus, to reveal the Father's elevated task through your every deed and perform every deed as a divine act. Don't be clever, but let it be a game. And for that too, a wonderful divine game. The activity of coming into connection with others is just contact for namesake to enable them to make contact with the Father of all. The activity of coming into connection with others is just contact for namesake to enable them to make contact with the Father of all. You will become free from waste thoughts by remaining busy in such pure activities. People say that they want to be free from performing activities, but Baba says there will be freedom in performing pure activities. This is not called being a householder. Householders are separate. To have pure activities is known as being a trustee, not a householder. So, Baba asks, do you understand the basis of freedom is pure activity? Do you understand that the basis of freedom is pure activity? Acha, to those who are constantly the most elevated beings, following the highest code of conduct, to those who use all treasures in a worthwhile way, to the embodiments of success, to those who transform the wasteful into powerful, to such obedient children of the Father who constantly follow Srimad, Bapdada's love, remembrance, and namaste. I repeat this to those were constantly the most elevated beings, following the highest code of conduct, to those who use all treasures in a worthwhile way, to the embodiments of success, to those who transform the wasteful into powerful, to such obedient children of the Father who constantly follow Srimad, Bapdada's love, remembrance, and namaste. And from us, children, love, remembrance, and namaste to our dear sweet Bapdada. Okay, let's get on. Do we have time? Yes, we do have time. Vijitbhai, can we go to? Yeah. So Bapdada is meeting groups. The Shaktis will show their sparkle and the Pandavas will accompany them. To keep the Shaktis in front is to be in front yourselves. Your name will be glorified by keeping them in front, like how Baba kept all the children in front. The fortune of those who renounce something accumulates automatically. Do the Shaktis have all their weapons? You do not become tired of carrying your weapons, do you? The Shaktis who have weapons are the ones who are worshipped. So, are all of you worthy of being worshipped? To be worthy of being worshipped means to have all your weapons. When you let go of your weapons, you're not worthy of being worshipped at that time. If you're not a Shakti, you're weak, and weak ones are not worshipped. To be worthy of being worshipped means to be this at all times. It does not mean to be worthy of being worshipped sometimes and to be weak at other times. So, do you constantly have all your weapons? When you consider yourself to be a householder, there is a, what is that word, Vijit Bhai? If you can move it to the, yeah, there is a web, the web of a householder. To be a householder means to be caught up in a web. To be a trustee means to be free. Constantly have the awareness that you are worthy of being worshipped. No matter what type of situation comes in front of you, you remain happy by being victorious. Do you ever become upset with your children, etc.? Since you call them children, children are those who do not understand. Children are those who are mischievous. Since they have mischievous natures and do not understand, why do you become upset with them? This is such a profound thing Baba said. Since they have mischievous natures and do not understand, why do you become upset with them? You understand the secret that, as they are children of the Iron Age, the impure creation, they will definitely be mischievous. As the clay, so would be the clay pot. If the clay pot is hot, how could it be possible for the water it contains to remain cool? So, if you become upset, it means you're not knowledgeful. It means that you haven't understood the significance. If you're yogyukt, when you give them teachings, they will be transformed. So Baba says, you mustn't become upset. Do you remain engaged in remembrance of Baba and in service throughout the day? Through your thoughts, words, and deeds? Every thought should be of remembrance of the Father or of service. Remind others of the Father through your every word and give others the treasure you have received. You have to reveal the divine activity of the Father through your activity. So, do you remain constantly engaged in such remembrance and service? Can Maya come to you if you keep yourselves busy in remembrance and service at all times? When you forget remembrance and service, you open the gates for Maya to enter. So, do not open these gates. To be forgetful means to open the gate to Maya, and to have remembrance means to apply a strong Godrej lock. The awareness of remembrance and service is a double lock. If you apply a double lock, Maya can never come to you. If you only apply a single lock of remembrance and not of service, then Maya can enter. Brahmin life is remembrance and service. Underline this. Brahmin life is remembrance and service. Yad or seva. Would you forget your task in life? If you forget this, you are deceived by Maya. By being deceived, you experience a wave of sorrow. So, constantly keep the double lock locked. Through this, you will remain constantly safe, happy, and content. Do you constantly consider yourself to be an elevated soul who takes every step according to Srimad? If your every step is according to Srimad, is your every step according to Srimad, or is it also according to the dictates of your own mind? Is your every step according to Srimad, or is it also according to the dictates of your own mind? Are you able to recognize this? What is the way to recognize this? The way to recognize whether it is Srimad or Manmat is that if it is Srimad, your mind will never become discontent. There will not be any type of upheaval in your mind. By following Srimad, you will have natural happiness, just as you automatically experience internal happiness when you perform a good deed. If you do something wrong, your conscience will definitely bite even though you may not speak about it. The mind of those who follow Manmat will fluctuate. Those who follow Srimad will be constantly light and happy. From this, you can understand whether you're following Srimad or Manmat. This is your thermometer. Whenever there is any fluctuation in your mind or the percentage of your happiness decreases, then check. And you will find that there is definitely disobedience in following Srimad. Constantly check and change. To check means to change. You need both the powers of checking and changing. Even if one of these is missing, you will not be able to remain content. Neither will you be content, nor will you be able to make others content. You will have the power to change when you have the power to tolerate. You will have the power to change when you have the power to tolerate. When the line of intellect is clear, you will have the power to recognize. When the line of the intellect is clear, you will have the power to recognize. Acha, Om Shanti. Thank you, Vijit Bhai. Let's take a couple of moments to reflect on this wonderful, intoxicating Murli, and then be ready to come and share and churn. Okay, whoever is ready can start sharing.
Om Shanti, Amish Bhai. So, ultimately, Baba said the obstructions of the speed. Everybody's making effort, but the speed is different. So the main reason Baba says it's waste thoughts, and we don't have the pure thoughts. And resolution, Baba says, we have to either put the double lock in seva and service, and make the intellect busy with pure thoughts and pure activities. We have to speak the knowledge, and we have to. Deed should be a karma yogi, so we have to detach and act. So these are some of the points that which touched my heart. So there should be a balance. Thank you.
Thank you, Vijit Bhai.
I also, sorry, go ahead, sister.
No, go ahead, Bijit Bhai, please.
Yeah, I also like the word that Baba used, Shudra's intellect, that we are stealing. We say that mind. So that is actually Shudra's sanskar. So here we are claiming that. It's actually not ours, but we say that it's my nature, mine. So we'll have to get rid of that mind. So that's actually causing us to the speed. And another thing Baba said is the Srimad. So that's in a very subtle way. We don't really, some cases we don't realize whether we are violating any code of conduct or not. So in a subtle way, that also impact our speed of effort. A lot of checking required in a subtle way. Yeah. Thank you. Go ahead, Jatin.
Om Shanti Vimesh Bhai. For the past 2 days when I was reading the Murli, I used to just think, how are these blessings actually framed and put at the end of the Murli? Do they just pick it at random or not? But see, the mind of the person, whoever is sitting, I found so perfect, because for the past 2 days, the whole Murli which you read today was there as a blessing. Like day before yesterday, Baba said you have to perform every action systematically, which he also mentions in today's Murli, not just as a karma yogi, but knowing the Brahmin ethics and the Brahmin system. So there Baba gave us a blessing that once you do everything systematically, the I becomes an instrument, and then there is no my or mine. Yesterday, when he gave us a blessing, Baba said, a trustee. Remove that word my and mine. My child is doing this, my this is that, then you'll get disturbed. But if you remove that mine, you will swim nicely. It was such a when you read the Murli, when that word mine came, my thoughts just went to the blessing. So it's so nice, because generally in a Murli, I go to the essence, but I love to scroll down to the blessing. Now, today's Murli, I have already shared in the chat box. What a nice flow chart from how he goes from obstacles, intense effort makers, how do you react, why you have waste thoughts, no pure thoughts, pure ideas, then why no pure, how to get pure thoughts, how to use treasures, one word, total surrender, what I have to surrender, my mind and all, and totally surrender. Why do you not surrender? The main wise attachment, holding on, holding on. So that if I finish, then blah, blah, all that, trustee, become a trustee and all. It was a nice thing, but it's really one has to go through deep this flow chart in each. It's like going to the Murli and writing down. Then, of course, action plan, which he says divine intellect, clear intellect, clean intellect, that and all. But action plan, I like. And if you see the last 3 paragraphs which you read, brother, it was the same thing just as action plan. First, I am Shiv Shakti. I will not get upset. Throughout the day, I'm going to be in Baba's presence. I think this whole Murli, you have to first write down these flowcharts and then put it and then link it. It needs a day for me really to take this Murli. Om Shanti.
Yes, Gijab, and it's a total reflection here in this Murli. And it's not whether all those sanskars are there or not. It is there. To what extent is there? To what extent we have a Shudra approach? To what extent we have attachments? To what extent we are getting upset is all to be checked and has to be cleaned. Okay, so that's maybe they are coming from this birth sanskars or an accumulation of sanskars of the previous births, which here we have an opportunity to clean and get closer to the Srimat as much as possible. It is a journey. Definitely, it is a journey, and that's where Baba's sustenance is supporting us to elevate ourselves. But yes, without getting into any kind of a remorse or any kind of a comparison, oh, that person is able to do it and I'm not able to do it, or how come I'm not able to do it. Rather than that, just taking the actions of even thinking and speaking and acting. So taking actions for all the 3 things where it is coming from an elevated, uh, yeah, nothing is mine. Okay, nothing is mine. It is always given. But how subtly Maya comes and kind of grips us. So constant remembrance and constant seva, what Baba mentioned, are 2 ways. The combination of these 2 is something that will help you speeden up the process to get closer to the virtues and the values of Bapdada. So thank you. Thank you, Girjaben, for sharing the flowchart. Yes, who else?
it's actually pulling us against our conscious wish, right? That's what Baba says. So that's because of the old sanskar, right? And here Baba says everything, I mean, we know that everything belongs to Baba, but still we say mine, mine, mine. I mean, in a subtle way, back in our mind or somewhere in the form of mind, we still have that thought. Uh, right, that is mine. So I think that's the thing that which is working consciously against our conscious wish, and then
Yeah.
we are when we sit in yoga, it's actually biting us. We are unable to have that clear connection with Baba. So in a way, Baba is trying to put us in a very safe place, right? Because Baba knows that if we keep anything with us, then we are going to remember that right at the time when we have to remember Baba, this all comes. So to keep us safe from all that, because we should not remember it other than Baba, and we should not remember anything else other than Baba. So it's actually a safety for us to give it everything to Baba. Right, but because of the sanskar, I think it's taking time for us to give it function.
Yes.
Dinesh bhai, can you just give your thought on this? See, Baba, such a surgeon, he has told us one checking point, like a thermometer he has given. To see whether it is really attached, just see, are you subservient to it? If I am attached to my child, I want to see, am I a slave to my child? Am I doing something because he is saying? You know, the thermometer was mind boggling for me to really understand attachment. We say, no, I am not attached. I just love. It is just I'm becoming an instrument. But that for me to check, am I subservient? So for that, Baba also says, that one word which he had said in one of the Sakar Murli, Vyastman. And then you see the medicine he has given down. Like they say, if you have a headache, what tablet you should take. If you have a headache and cold, what tablet you should take. For that, Baba is saying what you should do in actions, what you should do in words, what you should do for deeds, what you should do in connections. I'm saying the checking. Can you just give us a glimpse of it? Because that is the whole doctor's prescription, it looked like.
So when you said, no, being slave to our child, it's actually the attachment that would be there that would make you a slave, that would captivate you. So of course, when you have your child, definitely there are going to be emotions, and but the collapse between emotions and attachments, the emotions can be channelized into love, into having an understanding of the soul journey, which will actually require a elevated stage. And but like how Vijit Bhai said, no, that sometimes consciously we we want things, but many a times there are so many uh, incidences where unconsciously we may be getting into the trap of feeling low, feeling uh, like you said, feeling like a slave. Many a times we want things, but we don't even know why is it like this? Why am I feeling like this? Why am I thinking like this? So those questions, actually, when you go deep down to the difference that Baba gave, a very profound thing that Baba said is that your conscience, which my perspective is, that is your best friend. It cannot lie. It doesn't have the world like how in Satyug, everything is about purity, about divinity. There is no other world. It is only later where the comparisons came, those terminologies also came. But earlier time, it was like, acha, aisa bhi hota hai. So it is not that Earlier, it never existed earlier. The same way, the understanding of the soul journey would actually liberate one to get into the practice of acceptance freely. If recently, when we heard about Nalini Didiji and the way she was at the position at which she was, there was celebration. It was, in fact, it happened in one of these festival days, but not once was there any kind of uh, a sorry state which was there or any kind of grieving that was there. Why do we have amma mare to halwa khana? It is said. So why? It's because everything then comes from a space of relating from it from your own self, from your emotions or your attachments, rather, I would say. Then it's not about you. How nicely it is said now that when someone leaves the body, uh, they say that, okay, that person has gone into Baba's lap. See the languaging, see the thought, the language of the thoughts also. It immediately gives you a different streak, a direction of thinking in a liberating manner. So, yeah, I mean, when you reflect and you get to the source of understanding that, okay, I mean, yeah, these are the way, this is the way the cycle is. And the only thing that is there in this birth of the confluence age is that I keep checking and cleaning up my accounts of this birth and the earlier births. That's it. Not adding any more uh, grief or reasons to grieve by having any more attachments or jealousy, envy, upset, anger. Nothing of that. So, like how Baba said in the Murli, that when you do a good deed, how good you feel, your conscience makes you feel good. There's an old person and you help that person cross the road, or you go out of the way to help someone selflessly, it gives so much of satisfaction and fulfillment that when you hit the bed, you say that, okay, today I did this good deed. I was a reason to, I was an instrument, a catalyst to get a smile on someone's face. So that satisfaction and fulfillment comes when it goes beyond your own body consciousness. If that could, this perspective can kind of get it a bit clear for you, Javan.
Thank you, brother. A lovely mindset you gave me.
All right. Anyone else? Anyone before we go for a short meditation? Sakshi Ben, Srinivas Bhai, anyone?
Om Shanti, brother.
Om Shanti.
There's a line where Baba says, you will have the power to change only when you have the power to tolerate. But tolerate to what extent?
Well, it is subjective, and again, it is a question to the extent you want to elevate yourself to that level you tolerate. I would say that yeah, I mean, uh, tolerance would be two things. Now, when it comes to uh, tolerating some nonsense is one thing where you would want to voice out something again from uh, a space of virtues, of respect, of love, of acceptance. But uh, to the extent that you would want to move ahead, you want to change, you got to first take into the stride of whatever you are not accepting. So, check and change. When Baba said, that wherever you are stuck in life, wherever there is no satisfaction, fulfillment, content, happiness, joy, freedom, where you don't feel light and happy about the things that are happening around, to that extent, you are stuck. So, looking at, okay, what is it that you are looking at both the ways, sister? Something that you need to tolerate, but you are uh, not tolerating. Okay, and somewhere where you're tolerating, where you need to move ahead in your soul journey. Okay, so it could be either ways. But yeah, at the end of the ways that if you want different results, you've got to take different actions. And to take different actions need a different thought process. And the sustenance that we have here is that you think beyond your own self, your body consciousness, uh, your attachments, and then look at it holistically. How is it that you can raise yourself out of that situation? If that answers your question, sister.
But, brother, tolerating too much will also not allow us to move forward, right?
So that's what I'm saying, that it all depends. Now, it could be an accumulation of the karmic account, which could be there. Also, if we go to change the world, it's not going to happen. So that if you are facing a situation where you have to succumb or to give in unwillingly to tolerate something, then it has to be also looked at your own uh, acquired sanskars in this birth. So the reflection of that okay, if I want a different result, okay, whatever you said, that I don't want to tolerate. But what is a different approach that you would have, which would come from a soul consciousness, not from ego or any kind of maya, that would allow you to serve that situation and enable you get out of it as well. So the only change that you can get is within your own self. So that is what you may need to look at, to reflect and look at.
Okay, that is being in soul consciousness.
Yeah, basically, yeah, move beyond. Okay, the situation is like how Baba said, no, Shudra. Okay, so we are not Shudras. Now, there are certain uh, habits or natures that are developed because the environment around is toxic. And we are also a part of the toxic environment. The fortunate thing is that we've got Baba's sustenance. That is the reason we are elevating ourselves. At, at 6 o'clock in the morning, we are having these conversations. Why? Because we are into that spiritual learning and elevating ourselves. So, yeah, I mean, what is it that I can do differently? There is a way. It is not possible that there is no way. There is a way. That is the reason we all of us are here on the spiritual journey. Or you need to look at how much are you willing to be open to start working on that so that you can get out of that situation or condition and set yourself free.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you. Yeah.
Thank you, sister. All right. It's already 6:01. Uh, Vijit bhai, if you can just play the music, we'll do a short meditation in silence before we close today's session. Thank you, Vijit Bhai. Thank you, everyone. Om Shanti.